sometimes I can't remember if I saw stuff or not. Like, I'm still not 100% sure if I watched, whatchamacallit, Connor McLeod.
The Highlander? You watched it with your dad, you said.
I watched the first one. I'm talking about the one with Tina Turner.
That's not Connor McLeod?
The Highlander 2. Isn't that Highlander?
No, that's Mad Max.
Mad Max. I don't know if that's what I'm talking about. I don't know if I've watched that one. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book Retorts. I'm Danielle.
I'm Sam.
And this is a podcast where one of us explains a weird piece of media to the other who has no experience with it.
Yes, Danielle, that's me. I have no experience, like a new pair of shoes. Put me on. Break me in.
Do you really not think of these ahead of time?
I thought that about 10 seconds ago.
Super impressed, always. Always and forever.
I always panic. I'm always like, oh, I gotta think of one real quick. It's coming up.
Yeah, but you do really well. I would just pause and freeze, like deers on lights.
Well, whenever I put you on a stage for improv, then, Danielle.
No, please don't. Okay, so we are doing something different today, Sam.
No,
I'm so
I don't like
excited.
different. I'm scared of different.
We've never done this before, and I'm very excited about it.
Is this not a book, movie, or TV show?
No, it's not that. It's a movie. But the movie that we're doing today is Blood and Chocolate, the movie.
What?
Just like we did the book.
No! What?
Yes!
No! It took me like 10 seconds to remember, like, what was Blood and Chocolate? Did I see that? What is that thing? And they're like, oh, it's the dumb werewolf thing. That should have been vampire because it's blood.
Oh, it's so good. Okay. This is so exciting, Sam. You're going to love this.
Am I? I mean, I have feelings about the book, so.
Well, that's good, because first I would like you to recap, quickly enough, the book for all of our listeners.
All right. You're getting no names. I'm just putting that out there right now.
I can fill some in.
All right. So there's a lady. She's a werewolf. She's part of a pack of werewolves. Her dad.
The main girl? Are you talking about the main girl? Vivian.
Yeah. Vivian, sure, whatever. Her dad dies when a bunch of her teenager friends, being dumb teenagers, kill some people, and the village. There's like one of their friends kills someone to go to the prom, and then the other ones kill another girl to try to distract from the.
Yes.
Okay, so they killed some people. That was not inaccurate. I'm trying to be quick about this, Danielle.
Sorry, go ahead. Continue on.
So the villagers burn down their house and they flee. Only this is not like 18 or 16, whatever. This is modern day. Mm-hmm. And so they flee to, like, I don't know, Chicago, something like that.
Where do they flee? Virginia? No. I don't know. Whatever. They flee somewhere. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, they flee somewhere. She goes to high school. She starts dating a human. She's also apparently, like, just the most attractive person in this universe. Mm-hmm. There's all this drama about who's going to lead the pack now that her father, the erstwhile leader, is dead. And it's going to be this one guy who's a real jerk and, like, basically sexually assaults her at one point. That's not cool.
Yeah, that's Gabriel.
Yeah, that guy.
And Aiden was the name of the human.
Sure. That's fine. I'm sure they're
all
all
relevant. It's all relevant to the movie.
I'm sure all those names will come back, Danielle, so I'm not worried about it.
But I just think I need in case our listeners did not listen to our Blood and Chocolate episode,
Why
which I would
even
recommend.
Hear?
Maybe they like the movie better than the book. I don't know, Sam. But
I'm going to name this episode Blood and Chocolate 2, the movie?
Werewolf. Wait, what did we call it? We had a title for Blood and Chocolate, too. It was not Werewolf Boogaloo.
Should be. I'll have to go back and listen and find out. Anyway, the point is, she's dating this guy, but Gabriel has the sights on her. There's this weird, like, sexist competition to the death for who gets to lead the pack. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Gabriel wins, obviously, and then, like, the mother of one of her friends, who's a real jerk, I guess the mother and the friend, starts like attacking her mother to assert her dominance. So Vivian then almost kills her and then becomes like, oh, you won the battle, so you and Gabriel are now destined to be together kind of thing.
Yeah, and so Astrid was the name of
Astrid,
the woman who was like trying to kill
I only know that name from How to Train Your Dragon, so that's my reference point.
Perfect.
Anyway, what happens is they start framing Vivian for murdering humans, like Astrid does. So,
what a book, man.
Yeah. And her, like, son started framing Rafe. Yeah, sure. Rafe Fiennes, right? He's in this book.
Not the same.
No,
carry on.
Absolutely not. So they start framing as like she keeps like having rage things and blacking out and coming to and like with a foot or no a hand in her like bed and she's like, oh, I killed somebody, kind of thing. Oh, also best part of the book. Sorry, she like goes to show Aiden that she's a werewolf because Aiden's really into D&D and stuff. She's like, oh, he'll totally accept me as a werewolf because he likes fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't think any Dungeons and Dragons ever came into it, but sure, he's into magic.
Was he like a role playing? Maybe I just made that up.
No, I think you just said he should be.
Projected that onto him?
Yeah,
like, it's probably true.
Thing.
It feels like it shouldn't be true. Like he felt
was all
like
into like wolves and magic and werewolves.
Yeah,
and
he's a D&D nerd, Danielle. That's obvious.
I think you just thought that's what he would be.
Anyway, the point is, she like goes to him to demonstrate she's a werewolf, and the only way that can work, we surmise, is that like she has to get naked and like transform in front of him, and he does not take it well. But the best part is my favorite part of the book, and I really hope this is in the movie, is like the scene where she's like, Aiden, come to your bedroom. I have something I need to show you. She gets naked, and he's like, yes. And then she's like, I'm a werewolf. And he's like, no. Like, what a twist. What a, like, expectations being set and shattered. That scene's not in the movie. Why does this movie even exist? Seriously.
Yeah, that's a great question, Sam. Why does this movie even exist?
Sorry, best part of the movie, the book, whatever. It's that. Anyway, so a bunch of stuff happens. Eventually, Gabriel sexually assaults her, and then they eventually figure out that it is Astrid and Rafe, and they try to run off to the beach to go save Aiden, because they're targeting Aiden next just to really annoy her after they break her up with him. And then there's a big fight. Astrid is killed, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And, Aiden runs away, never wants to have anything to do with her again. And so it all ends happily ever after with her now basically with Gabriel.
And running the pack or something.
Yeah. So, not good messages or gender dynamics in that book.
Fabulous. I appreciate that summary.
I like how I spent more time describing that one scene that amused me than any other part of the book.
It has nothing to do with the movie, but I appreciate the effort.
Wait, so you mean the movie has nothing to do with any part of the book?
Yeah, you'll find out, won't you? Today on Book Retorts, everybody, Blood and Chocolate, the movie, 2007.
Bring it on! Let me transform into my wolf form.
All right. So, it opens with a little girl spinning as the snow comes down around her. She's playing with her friends. There's a forest backdrop behind her. She's like, in front of her house or something.
If this turns into the Hansel and Gretel movie where she becomes like a werewolf hunter, I'm on board.
It does not.
Dang it.
Until there are flashlights in the woods that claim her attention. She runs back into the house, and her mom and dad hide her inside as gunshots ring through the wood of the cabin.
No, gunshots? Those can't kill werewolves. They can only be killed by silver.
I'm sure they have silver bullets, Sam.
Oh, okay, cool. That's prepared for them.
The kids crawl through a trapdoor that leads outside as smoke billows around them, and the parents are trapped inside. Her mom tells her to run! Run, Vivian! And they make their way to the woods. She looks back and she sees the house engulfed in flames, and there's men with guns and dogs outside. She can see their shadows.
If they were dogs, wouldn't they be like friends with wolves? Is that how it works?
No.
Okay.
Because she's chased by the dogs.
She's trying to like, hey, I'm one of you, bark, bark.
Yeah, but her eyes flash gold, and then a wolf is superimposed on the screen. Blood and chocolate.
Did we ever determine what the chocolate part was? I mean, I knew she ate a bunch of chocolate.
I have an answer for that, because I will, when I get to it, I will explain everything. I have an answer. Okay.
Because the answer we had is that she just ate a bunch of chocolate. Oh, she described her relationship like chocolate, like comforting.
Yeah, and actually, should have had an answer for the book as well, but I missed something, and I will tell you about it when we get there.
All right, okay. Well, way to tease it, Danielle.
Yeah, so listen in, everybody, if you want to know why it's called Blood and Chocolate.
Answered in part 2.
Finally. So, cut to the future. A young woman is out running. She glares at a dog that dares to growl at her, and it backs off. This is Vivian, obviously.
Obviously.
You'll be happy to know they age up in this movie.
Oh, right. She was like 14 or whatever.
She was 16 or she turns 17. She's 17, she turns 18. I think she's 17 and she turns 18.
Either way, it still felt skeevy.
Yeah, it was not great. And like I think Gabriel was like 24 or something.
Mm-hmm. And then her mother, who was also into Gabriel, that was the whole thing, was like 30 something.
30 something. Close to 40, maybe. It was close to 40. She makes her way through the streets of Romania to her shared apartment.
So not Chicago, or wherever they were.
Wherever the heck it was in the United States. Not there. Definitely Romania.
That seems a little on the nose for like a werewolf movie.
It's great. It's the best part of the movie. I'm going to put it out there because the scenery is fantastic. But
okay, Romania is a beautiful country.
Her aunt, Astrid, tells her she needs to stay... And that's why I'm doing the movie. You're not going to guess anything. And the best part is it's so different from the book that it's going to be weird because it's so different from the book.
What? This is like, what? If Astrid is the evil aunt, it's okay.
So her Aunt Astrid tells her she needs to stay home because he'll expect her to be there, whoever he is.
Oh, Heel, not Hill.
Hill.
I've been watching King of the Hill, Danielle.
Vivian says she doesn't plan to be, and her aunt reminds her that it's an honor to be chosen. And Vivian asks if it's an honor when he leaves you, too.
Is she being chosen to be the mate for Gabriel or whoever it is named in this movie?
Probably. Maybe. Yeah. We'll find out very shortly.
Or she's a sacrifice for a volcano in Romania.
Also possible.
Okay.
Her aunt tells her it's the way of her people, that they have a home there, a safe one, thanks to Gabriel. Her parents would have wanted her safe, and it's only herself that she's running from.
None of this makes any sense.
Yeah, well, it's all in media res, so...
I know, but, like, they're not even trying to make it make sense.
The movie, like, there's not a whole lot that doesn't make sense in the movie in this way. We'll find out.
Okay.
So that night, Vivian makes her way out to what can only be described as like an outdoor nightclub. There's some trance music playing. There's a band. There's a woman in a red dress who's dancing in the audience. And she catches the eye of a group of young men along the hillside. And one of that is like watching her from the hillside suddenly appears beside her mysteriously. Magic.
Ooh, he's a wolf.
Probably. You can assume that almost everybody in this movie is a wolf.
But what? The whole point of the book was that, like, they had to secrete themselves. Secret themselves.
Secret
The whole point that is secret themselves amongst the humans.
Yeah, well, we'll get there too. So this young lady, she sexy dances for this possible werewolf, and he's in obvious lust with her. And when he makes a move on her, she refuses and laughs, disappearing into the crowd.
Ooh, teasy lady. Go her. Living her best life.
His group of friends laughs at him as he makes his way to the bar, and Vivian calls him her cousin and tells him not to give up on the dancing lady. She sees a real future for them. Sarcastically, obviously.
I figured it was sarcastic, Danielle.
It might be the best line in the whole movie. I'll tell you that.
Out of the way early, huh?
Yeah, real early.
Oof.
His friends follow him over to the bar, seemingly impressed that Vivian's out and about. I guess it's not a common thing for her. And she seems less than thrilled that the quote-unquote fortunate five are there in force.
Oh, those are the 5 people who were the murderers in the previous book.
Yes.
Okay.
They ask her if she's there to dance, and the cousin says that he looks forward to seeing how she'll dance for Gabriel, because she knows that she will. It's apparently been almost 7 years, whatever that means. And
since the fire, presumably.
We'll find out. And they all take a shot and do a little kind of sarcastic cheer for her, and she looks visibly upset that this is her life.
That's fair.
So she leaves the bar. She's wandering the streets of Bucharest, and she stops to break into a church. It's clearly her thinking spot. This seems like a thing that she does.
Just breaks into a church to think?
Yeah, this specific church.
See, I would have thought that she would have stopped by a fountain to think. That's what other people in my movies do.
Ah, that's cute. But no, it's because the stained glass windows in this church depict, like, wolves, but they're humanoid, standing on 2 legs, doing religious
werewolf
things.
Church?
Werewolf church?
Werewolf church.
Werewolf church.
The Church of the Holy Sacrament of Wolf.
We'll get into a little bit. There's a lot of background. So this movie, not great. Well known to be panned. It has some really interesting concepts, and I will get into this as we go along, but I want a whole other movie that, like, deals with some of the stuff that they throw out in this.
Yeah, I want Werewolf Church.
I want Werewolf Church.
Yeah, that's all I have to say is I want Werewolf Church.
Yeah. So she's meditating up in the balcony area for a while, and then she hears somebody scribbling, like it's obviously pen on paper kind of noise, and she glances down and she notices a man drawing. It's Hugh Dancy. We love Hugh Dancy.
I don't know who Hugh Dancy is. I mean, I probably do. I don't know the name.
You know who Hugh Dancy is. He's in a million things.
Sure. I believe it. I just don't know his name.
You should Google him and look him up.
You couldn't name another thing he's in, Danielle?
He's in a ton of stuff. He's in Hannibal, Ella Enchanted.
Good list.
Well, I'm trying to think of what else he's been in. Oh,
Who
he's in
was he in
Downton
Ella
Abbey,
Enchanted?
The Prince.
Oh, okay. Got it. Perfect.
All right, see? We're good.
You're good.
He's
Ella
in a ton of
Enchanted.
stuff.
Got me.
I'm impressed, because that would not have been what I would have necessarily thought you'd know.
I saw Ella Enchanted. It's a fun movie.
It's a great movie.
You know, like Amy Adams or something?
No. It's, what's her face? Princess Diaries. Anna.
It is the Anna. Yeah, that is the
Anne.
name. Anne Winters.
Anne Hathaway. Oh, my goodness, that was bad.
Anne
Sorry,
Hathaway
Anne.
wasn't in.
Yes, she is. She's
I'm thinking of Enchanted.
Enchanted is Amy Adams.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, then yeah. Ella Enchanted is a great movie, though. You should watch it.
Okay, that one I haven't seen. Never mind.
Yeah, if you saw Hugh Dancy, you'd know him. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter.
That's all getting cut. We don't need this.
So, I don't know how he didn't hear her come in, because it appears that he's been there for quite a while.
The priest?
No, Hugh Dancy, drawing. It's just her, she put...
Just another random person in this church?
No, Hugh Dancy is the guy who's just randomly in there drawing. There's no priest.
Right.
Where did the priest come from?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I assumed he was the priest. I didn't know there'd be I didn't know the church was a
No,
popular
he's just a
break-in
guy
spot
drawing.
for random people.
She just looked down, she saw a guy that was like sitting there and drawing, like I
Yeah,
just
but why
said.
are all these people in this church?
Well, that's the whole, like, have a conversation. Like, why did you break into church? Well, why did you break into the church?
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get ahead of the movie.
Yeah, we'll
My
find out for in a
assumption was,
minute why Hugh
You
Dancy
say
is there.
a person in a church after it's closed, I assume it's like the priest or somebody taking care of it.
Very much not. It's just a guy who's like clearly a tourist or whatever. He's there, he's sitting down and he's like sketching. He's using the church for inspiration.
You're saying he's a sketchy guy.
He's a sketchy guy. So I don't know how he didn't hear her come in, though, because she's, like, sitting up just above him in the balcony, and so she sees him. She's like, oh, my gosh, there's a person down there, even though she clearly broke in, climbed up there, sat down, and, like, he didn't seem to notice her. And then she suddenly ducks down, because she's like, oh, no, there's a person that, like, could visibly see me. And when she ducks down, a pigeon flies. It, like, startles a pigeon, and so he ends up looking up, and he's like, who's there? Because, you know, that's what people always do in horror movies.
Always, because I see a pigeon, I immediately think, no, that pigeon was spooked by a person and not just any of the million things that a pigeon would fly from.
Yep, nope, he thinks there's somebody there. And he's doing his best American accent. He's super British, so good job, Hugh Dancy. It almost works most of the time. So he feels driven out for some reason. Like, it doesn't quite make sense, but he starts gathering all his stuff. She, like, pops up. They don't introduce each other, but they're sort of talking, and he's like, I'm grabbing my stuff and I'm going. And so he goes to leave, but as he opens the door to the church, the wind catches his art book, and all his pages fly all over.
No, my art!
Oh no! So she comes down, she's helping him pick up the pages, and he's drawn wolves, lots of wolves.
Oh, is everyone a werewolf in this movie?
Yeah, who says he's a werewolf? You don't know that.
Either he's a werewolf or he's about to find out what it's like to be with a werewolf.
You'll find out. He tells her that he had to come to this place. He's doing a figure study for a graphic novel, and he shows her one of his books. And apparently he's having werewolves in his next book, so he's been working on.
So he came to Bucharest to study this stained glass window for his werewolf graphic novel.
No, he came to Bucharest because there's a whole history of wolf people here, which we will get into.
Oh, okay, great. I was going to say, that'd be stupid.
Correction.
Now it makes perfect sense.
To be fair, I would go to Bucharest just to see a wolf people church, because that sounds wild.
I mean, yeah, obviously, sure. I mean, I'm on board. Let's do it. Listeners, fund our trip to the werewolf church.
Yes. On board. So he introduces himself as Aiden Galvin, which is the same first name, different last name than the character in the book, which I thought was an interesting choice.
So this is Aiden. He's not into D&D.
He is not. Well,
but he's into graphic novels. So again, lateral move.
He's in Bucharest on research, and he heard that there were places where wolves were worshipped in that area, but he didn't think it was literally. And he says they're not technically wolves, though. They're called loups-garoux, which is what the name... I didn't say that in our previous talk on the book, but that's what the name of the group is called, the loups-garoux.
Loups-garoux. Well, I know why you left that out.
Yeah, well, loups-garoux, and they're like werewolves, but they're revered. They're the best of man and beast until they were wiped out, according to legend.
I'm not sure they're the best. Let's not be, like, eugenicizing all this, please.
I'm just saying that's what the story's about.
Gross.
So she tells him it's bad luck to break into a church and runs off as he calls after her. He's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "Bye."
"What's your name? Bye. Call me later. Okay."
So meanwhile,
we should voice a movie. We should redub a movie.
You'd probably be pretty good at that, Sam. I don't know if I'd be as good at it.
You'd be great. What are you talking about? You just did a great interpretation of this whole scene where they part ways.
Thanks. So, meanwhile, drunk red dress girl is walking home alone down an alley when the Fortunate Five start chasing her. She calls for help and she runs for it, but she drops her purse before she makes it down the alleyway, and then she ends up running straight into Vivian. And Vivian's like, "Get out of here." And she's like, "Okay." And she runs off.
Yay, Vivian. Not letting the girl get murdered for once.
As the woman runs off, Vivian catches up to the boys and her cousin. The cousin has the purse. He's like digging through it, and they're grinning at her, and they're like, "Oh, we're just having some fun, Vivian, not a big deal." And Vivian reminds them that they know the law. Hunt as a pack or not at all.
Oh, okay. I thought they weren't supposed to hunt people at all.
That's what she's saying. Well, she's saying that unless the whole pack is hunting a person, they're not just supposed to, like, chase after random humans.
Okay, so in the movie, it's like, we can all decide to kill a person, that's fine. But in the book, like, no killing at all.
Yes, technically.
Cool, I'm glad there's a loophole in the book, the movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see what happens. Vivian makes a home to find Gabriel creeping in her window. He's like just hanging out.
Oh, good.
There,
He hasn't changed.
No, he's not. And he's French or something. They explain
he's
this.
French?
Okay. They explain why everybody's
I'm
different.
to take your love.
So here's the thing.
Don't hurt me, French people.
Vivian's American. Rafe is, when we get there, is British. What's his face? Gabriel's French. Aunt Astrid, I think, is German by nationality. I don't know if that's what she's doing.
I'm all for a multicultural, diverse group of friends. Yay!
And they explain it away in a little bit. I just thought it was funny that they're just like, our cast is whatever we want it to be.
I mean, to be fair, again, to talk about Highlander for a moment, where they cast Christopher Lambert as the Scotsman and Sean Connery as the Spaniard. I mean, I've given up trying to keep movies straight. Yeah, it's great. What a choice. So I really have no room to comment on the casting decisions of this movie. I
mean, and that makes sense, actually. They explain it away, and I'm like, sure, why not? Because up to that, you're like, wow, everybody has a different accent. That's a choice, since they're all like in the same group, semi-related to each other.
No, they did more than Highlander did, that's for sure.
Yeah. So Gabriel is this dark, brooding bad boy who's has like, the leather jacket on. He's using a knife to peel an orange, as you do, I guess. I don't, but some people do, I'm sure.
Just use your fingers. There's an orange, not like a coconut.
Yeah, but it looks cooler if he's, messing with it. It's like the play on the bad guy always gets an apple, but he gets an orange.
Okay. Sure, I guess he's not cool enough for an apple.
He tells her that her aunt is asleep, and Vivian tells him that Astrid had waited up for him. Gabriel says, "You know the rules. Every 7 years, the leader of the pack takes a new wife. She should have more..." I'm just telling you what the movie says.
You can't just say nonsense like that and be like, "Sam, how dare you react to the literally crazy thing I just said?" Oh, I know I said something absolutely insane, but you should be there stoically and not comment at all.
I'm supposed to be the straight man in this story, Sam. You're supposed to be the one reacting.
What? 7 years to take a new... What is this, Pon Far? Are they Vulcan?
I think it has to do with, like, mating, making sure there's, like, lots of children. I don't know.
You don't need to do it every 7 years.
And the man can, of course, be as old as he wants, but the woman needs to be younger every 7 years.
This is not any better in terms of gender dynamics in the book. This is worse.
Oh, gosh, this movie. So glad.
How do they make the gender dynamics so much worse? I didn't think that was possible. Well done.
Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll turn it around. He tells Vivian that she should have more respect for the laws. It's how they survive. And there are prophecies about girls like her. Whatever that means.
What? Prophecies? What?
Dude, I don't know, Sam. That's all I know.
Do they ever come back, Danielle?
Actually, when I wrote that note in my thing, I could not recall it ever coming back. And I think I just blanked. I think I wasn't paying enough attention the first time I watched this movie.
Fine.
Yes, it does come back a little bit.
That's too bad. It'd be funnier if it didn't.
Yeah, I actually thought it didn't. I was all prepared to be annoyed about it, but apparently it does. So apparently, Vivian comes from a long line of leaders. Women in her family were legends in Bucharest, and her father should never have gone to America. They survive because they stick together, he says, and her father thought of himself first. How dare he?
What? I don't know. Just move on. I don't care.
Gabriel tells her that if she's the one in the prophecy, he will ask her to be his wife. And
prophecy again. Sure. Okay.
Yeah. She tells her the soldier came up again.
Oh, that it? That the whole time it all comes up?
I can tell you, Sam.
Okay,
maybe.
Great.
She tells him that she's seen what he's done to Astrid. He comes for a night and she cries for a month. And he doesn't have anything to say to that. He just says, well, you want to be ordinary, but you're not. You have an animal inside of you to teach you that you're not ordinary, that you're different.
How am I less interested in these characters in the movie?
I don't know, Sam.
That's impressive.
Astrid is apparently watching from her bedroom door, looking sad. She's got a sheet wrapped around her. She's like, oh.
Mopey Astrid, got it.
Yeah, not mine anymore. Back with the drunk club lady, the red dress. She wakes up in her own bed and goes to shut her now open window.
Can we call her Roxan?
Sure, Roxanne. Why not? Roxanne wakes up from her own bed and goes to shut her open window. She sees her key from her purse in the flower pot and panics, slamming the window shut and turning around. But the cousin guy is looking creepy in her room. He's just standing there.
Rafe?
Black. Ooh, yes, Rafe. I'm going to tell you that now.
I figured that out from the first time, Danielle.
Well, I don't remember when they tell you his name. It is said at one point, but I missed it entirely in my rewatch while I was taking my notes.
Okay.
So I didn't find that out for a while. I actually had to Google it to make sure I wasn't misremembering. He's clearly very upset that she denied him at the club, and he asks her if he wasn't worthy of her respect. And
yes, absolutely not worthy of my respect.
Yeah, not
True.
at all.
Nope.
He tells her she only denied him because she didn't know the real him, and you see a flash of gold.
You don't know who I really am. Is he an incel? He sounds like an incel.
Oh God, he is. So I have big thoughts about Rafe in this movie, which I'll get to later. But yeah, especially at this beginning part, he's like hardcore incel. Like you didn't like me on the dance floor, and you made my friends laugh at me. Therefore, I'm going to murder you. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a flash of gold, and suddenly he's a wolf.
Wait, so when you say a flash of gold, do you mean like a golden light? And that's how they transform? It just goes poof and they're a wolf?
Yeah, you see more of it later, but in this particular scene, there's just kind of like a golden light, and you see almost like a kind of like a shadow morphing effect, shadow into a wolf. Suddenly there's just kind of a
very
wolf.
Cheap on the effects, I gotcha.
Yeah, kind of. And now he's wolf. And the scene flashes again. Sure. It's like it cuts and goes black and then flashes again, and she's like blood soaked on the floor, dead.
Aww.
Poor Roxanne.
We hardly knew her.
Roxanne.
You mean to sing the rest of the song?
Roxanne. All right.
Okay,
anyway.
Great. That's a little intermission for our listeners.
You named her. Meanwhile, a guy is being released from prison and is taken in a car. He gets driven to Gabriel in what appears to be the same nightclub as earlier. This is very questionable. I'm not 100% sure.
Werewolf nightclub.
Yeah,
what would you name your werewolf nightclub, Danielle?
Full moon, blue moon. No, that's from a book.
What's the what are they called again? Lugubrious? Is that the name of the wolf pack?
Loups-garoux.
Whatever. Loups-garoux?
Loups-garoux. It's French.
Sounds like a Subaru knockoff.
It's got like 12 extra characters in it, but it's Loups-garoux.
Okay. Lugurious. This is what we call the Lugurious.
I don't know.
I'm trying to make it work.
Wagging tail?
The Wagging Tail. That's a good name for a werewolf nightclub, Danielle. It sounds actually more like an inn from like an old, like, I'll meet you at the Wagging Tail, like a pub in England or something.
I don't know, Sam.
All right, we'll think about it.
So, as I said, I think it's the nightclub. It's very unclear, but I think they own the nightclub.
So it is a werewolf nightclub. Awesome.
I think so, yeah.
This is just like Blade.
Yeah, a little bit. He tells the man who doesn't know him that his arrest has made the paper, and he suggests to the audience that the man was in jail for a lot of drug selling, and he's against that, and they're going to find out who he was selling to and take care of the problem. And he seems to imply that he kind of like runs the city or something, like he's cleaning it up. He's like a mafia wolf leader. I don't know.
Yeah. So we went from wolf pack to wolf family, so to speak.
It's 100% wolf family, and he's like head of the wolf family.
Cool, I guess. Loups-garoux family. That's like the least intimidating mob-like family name.
Well, he's going to make him an offer he can't refuse, so
We got the Gambinos and the loups-garoux.
The next day, Vivian, who apparently lives above and works at a chocolate shop, which I think is probably the only way they could have gotten blood and chocolate into this.
So is this the answer you have, Danielle, the chocolate shop?
No, that's not the answer I have.
Okay.
The answer makes sense. I promise when we get to it, you're going to be like, oh, that makes sense as to why they would call it blood and chocolate.
Don't make promises you can't keep, Danielle.
Well, it made sense to me when I realized what I didn't remember from the book.
Sure.
So she works at a chocolate shop, but she's wandering the streets on her way to deliver some chocolates, and she stops at a comic book store, and she finds a copy of Aiden's graphic novel.
It's already been published?
He has 2 out already.
Oh, he's doing
I don't know if he
volumes.
has other series, but he's got 2 volumes, and he's working on his 3rd.
What year does this movie take place in?
Well, it's 2007 when it came out, and I think it's probably modern day, so.
Okay, because I would say if this was like, a lot earlier, graphic novelist was not a career you'd see a lot in movies.
No, the 3rd one just has it's going to involve wolves, so that's why he's like adding them in.
I got that. I'm just saying it's an interesting choice for a movie career.
But it works for him, as we'll see, sort of.
More graphic novels. I'm all about it.
So she finds a copy of Aiden's graphic novel, she purchases it, and as she's walking down the streets, away from the shop and everything, Aiden happens to be at a cafe along the same street, and he sees her walk by, and he calls out to her. He's like, "Wolf girl!" And she turns and then panics that she, turned at it and looks around the street like people are going to be like, "Oh, she's a wolf!"
That's my first thought.
And so she runs for it, and then she loses. What? I don't know, she just runs away. She's like, "No, not wolf girl!" I don't know. Some of the choices these characters make, I don't quite understand.
I'm just baffled.
She loses him in an alley as she climbs up a roof, but the red ribbon that was tied around her chocolate bag comes loose and floats down, landing artistically on Aiden, like some red string of fate metaphor. And
I thought it was going to be that story where the woman, she has the red ribbon around her neck and she takes it off, her head falls off.
It's kind of like that because it leads to him finding out that she's probably a werewolf.
Okay, great, yeah, sure.
Same thing. And he's confident that this ribbon came from her, even though he did not see her scale the walls or anything. He just ran into the alleyway.
Must be from the woman I chased through an alley, which is a totally normal human thing to do.
She turns the corner on an alleyway, and there's a bunch of the fire escape things and
I got the
clothes
idea.
everywhere, and she disappears, and he's like, "This ribbon is from her." You're like, what?
I appreciate his ability to jump to conclusions. It's something we value in our protagonists.
We love it. So the Fabulous Five, the Fortunate Five,
the Fab Five are a different thing, Danielle.
I know. They show up. It would have been more fun. They show up at Vivian's apartment.
If Rafe entered that woman in the red dress apartment, is like, "What, am I not good enough for you? Because, girl, that dress ain't doing you any favors. Let me help you."
And she looked great in the dress.
All right, I'm just saying, Danielle, it would have been a better movie.
It would have been a better movie. So, like I said, the 5 show up at Vivian's apartment. The cousin, who, like I said, is Rafe. Now, this is where I looked him up to make sure that I remembered correctly. Is Astrid's son. So,
but I know how cousins work. Yes.
Yes, but I was just making it clear as to whose kid she was. He was. So now they've made 2 people who are lovers in the book. Mother and son. That's a choice they made.
I thought, wasn't Astrid? No, Astrid wasn't his. I think I said Astrid was her son in my summary.
No, it's not true.
Yeah.
Astrid is the person. He's 17, 18, whatever.
And he's 19. Hooking up with her, right? Yeah.
And they're she's 30 or something.
She's hooking up with him to turn him against her and use them to get back at Vivian. Yeah.
And
anyway, that's the book. We're not here to talk about that.
A little bit. So the hunt is held. They talked earlier about the hunt. They were going to have a hunt, an event, a thing that they have periodically, a hunt. And it's held in this Grecian-style ruin in the forest. Which, sure, why not? I'm sure there are Grecian-style ruins in Bucharest.
They have a formal hunt?
Yeah, it's called the hunt. And
I got that.
It seems to be an event that periodically happens, and we'll get into it shortly as to what this is, but it's held in the Grecian-style ruins in the forests of Romania.
I don't understand these wolves. Just put it out there. I don't understand these wolves at all.
I don't know, Sam. I can't help.
I've never had so much information and yet still being so confused.
It's great. It's very pretty. So Vivian looks pained at being there, as there's like dancing and there's drum circles and it's like a whole festivity. It's like clearly a thing that they do periodically. And Astrid steps to her side and says, "In fear, I hurried this way and that. I had the taste of blood and chocolate in my mouth. The one is hateful as the other." And it's
Is this because dogs are allergic to chocolate?
No, it's a quote from Steppenwolf, the book. Okay. And it is about the duality of man. So, blood and chocolate, sweet and savory. I gotcha. Exactly where my brain was going. But that is what the book is about, is the duality of man, the beast, and the human.
Sure. And Jekyll and Hyde, I gotcha.
This quote is actually at the beginning of the book, Blood and Chocolate. And I just completely forgot that it was there. Fair enough.
All right. The explanation makes sense. I'm still not happy about it.
To be fair, I think we kind of got to that when we talked. I mean, we talked about many things about what blood and chocolate could have meant, but I think one of them was about, like, the duality, sweet and not, whatever.
I liked our ideas better.
Yeah, way better. Who cares about Steppenwolf, even though it's really famous? All right.
Famous doesn't always mean good, Danielle. Again, I'm not going to comment on Steppenwolf. This is way beyond my pay grade.
That's true. Anyway, Gabriel arrives. They all kneel down, burying one side of their neck. And Vivian very unwillingly, and Rafe with almost no respect whatsoever, but he does do it.
Sounds like there won't be any problems later.
Gabriel gives us a rundown on the wolves. All right, you ready for this, Sam?
We're going to do a werewolf roll call?
Werewolf roll call. Ooh.
Cambot. Tom Servo.
Connor.
Yeah, can you name the werewolves from Wolf, Danielle?
Caleb. Connor.
Yep.
Carter?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the first time ever?
Yeah.
I'm so excited, and I got it on a werewolf episode.
I think that's right. Now you have me questioning it.
I may have got it right, and now Sam doesn't know. That figures.
We've done this so many times that I've honestly forgotten, like, which are the fake ones we made up, which are the real ones.
Okay, well, I'm going to assume that I'm right, and that's very exciting. Listeners, if I'm not right, feel free to reach out.
The one you always say that's wrong is Cameron.
I didn't say that, did I?
No, you always say that. That's the one that you always say that's wrong is Cameron.
Okay, perfect. Well, Good job, me, I think, maybe. I don't remember what I just said, so I'm not 100% sure. So, werewolf roll call. They've survived 5,000 years because they hide who they are. They've been chased from everywhere. England, France, America, but not in Romania.
Wait, sure, Romania's like wolves. Cool.
Wolf Haven. So the two men bring out the drug dealer from earlier. He's blindfolded and bound, and Gabriel tells the audience that the thing before them is called man, that he calls it a menace. The race of man is corrupt at its core. They are bent on destruction, so once in a while they need to show the menace that while they may be outnumbered, they will never be out-hunted.
So he's a follower of Thomas Hobbes, then, is he?
Yes. He's a Hobbesian. There's my name, the Hobbesian. There's a name for that, I'm sure.
Sure.
He tells them to be who they truly are, and the audience gets all excited and starts stripping their clothes, and because I think this is PG-13, they don't get naked, which is silly.
Come on, you had one good thing going for your movie, werewolf nudity.
Yeah.
You screwed it up.
It has a lot of, like, sexy undertones to this movie, obviously, werewolves. And I feel like they should have just gone hardcore in it and probably would have been a better movie. And I don't mean that in, like, I wanted to watch it kind of way. I just think that, given their nature, it would have made more sense.
Danny, you can be honest with us. You wanted to watch it. It's okay. It's a safe space here.
I mean, I would watch, naked werewolves if they want to run around, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Gabriel comes down to the man and tells him if he can make it past the river and the woods, his life is his. But if he can't, his life is forfeit to the loups-garoux that takes it.
The loups-garoux!
And
every time you say, I can't think of Zubumafu or something like that.
Okay, we'll go for it. He cuts his arm, cuts the drug dealer's arm.
For the blood, I got it.
Yeah, for the blood, and tells him no one ever makes it to the river. He says it in this very menacing voice, no one ever makes it to the river. You're like, okay, Gabriel.
Not a very, like, interesting sport then. I don't ever, like, if you have no chance of losing.
Yeah, but they enjoy it. The man takes off into the woods, and they give him a fair head start before their eyes all glow, and they run off behind him. And then once they get to the woods, they dive forward, and they glow, and they turn into wolves. And actually, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's not like super great CGI or anything, but it's kind of this fun glowy gold thing, and then they're like whoosh, they like morph into
Mighty Morphin Werewolves. Got it.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of like Animorphs or something.
Oh.
So, and there's tons of wolves. Like, they clearly had some wolf shots in there. I don't know how they got all the wolves to do stuff, but
How do they ever get wolves do anything, Danielle?
No idea. But I'll give you a spoiler. The man does not make it.
Oh, shocking. Is they going to do this to Aiden at some point?
I am not going to tell you anything about the plot. Why do you ask questions you know I'm not going to answer?
Mostly for my own edification.
Maybe he turns into a werewolf.
That'd be funny.
Might happen. You'll see. Vivian, meanwhile, stays behind and fights her inner beast, her eyes glowing. Gabriel tells her it's who she is and will always be, but she doesn't seem to go anywhere. She just stands there.
Okay. Good for her. Not murdering. I support that.
Back with Aiden. He is drawing a wolf, but he gets sidetracked by a sketch he did of Vivian, and he runs downstairs and stops
When did he do the sketch of Vivian?
I don't know. He drew it at some point in the last few days.
Oh, I thought he sat and watched her and sketched her at some point.
I think he did it from memory. I think he's just got,
artist brain.
I like artist brain, artist memory. Okay. He runs downstairs and he stops at the hotel desk or wherever he's staying to check for mail. And the man
She sent me a letter.
I don't know what he's checking for. The man happens to be eating a box of chocolates tied up with a red ribbon. And he's all like, aha, found it.
Sherlock Holmes, he ain't.
Meanwhile, Vivian is making some chocolates in the shop. It's apparently another day. She's doing that thing where movies like to do where a character speaks to them in a foreign language and then you answer back in English because you're trying to explain to the audience what that person
like when you're talking to
you.
R2-D2 or something. Got it.
Right, which is crazy because she's lived there since she was like 8 or something, so she definitely speaks Romanian.
And if she understands it well enough, she should just answer like, if the other person speaks English, like this is nonsense.
Yeah, so like the older woman who clearly like owns the shop or whatever speaks to her in Romanian and she's like, yeah, I know, like, responding back to him like, nobody does that. You just speak Romanian back to the Romanian woman.
Or she'll just speak English if she understands English.
Yeah, it's bizarre. When the woman leaves, Aiden magically appears in the shop. He just kind of...
Oh, he's a magician too.
Yes, he is. He calls her Wolf Girl and she's like, don't call me that. And he's like,
that's kind of rude.
Yeah, he's like, give me something else to call you then. And she finally relents and tells him her name.
It is Jane Wolfington.
Be funny, but no. She tries to get him to leave, but he's like, nah, I'm going to stay here. And he sticks his finger in the big chocolate pot, and that's gross to me.
You can contaminate all the chocolate. You're going to throw that all out now. Don't you remember Willy Wonka when they you can't put your hands in the chocolate river? It must be sanitary. Then why it's out in the river? That's a really good question. Willy Wonka was not running a safe shop. That's not the point. The point is, don't contaminate people's chocolate.
Yeah, I visibly kind of gagged a little when he did that. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of like, knock it off. And I was like, no, it's like, you got to throw out the whole pot.
This is how you're going to get health and safety violations immediately.
Probably not in Romania. I mean, I don't know how that all works, but I think some places are a little sketchier on that than some.
Sure, I'm just saying, no good.
Yeah, it was not great. I was like, oh, please don't. It's this tiny little shop. They may not even have health inspectors in their well, I mean, they're in Bucharest. It's quite a large. I don't know, Sam. Doesn't matter. It's gross. So she's surprised he's still in town, given that he's clearly a tourist. He's American, by the way, supposedly. And he admits that he has a train ticket in a few days, but would like to spend those few days with her.
I bet you would.
Hey, how you doing? She sees Rafe getting out of a car out front, and she's like, okay, you gotta go, bye. And he's obviously very resistant to this, and she decides to, get into a conversation with him. So 1 second, she's like, you need to leave right now. And then he's like, well, tell me more about yourself, or whatever.
And, like,
and then
I was born a werewolf. What more do you need to know?
And then he finally, he starts, asking why he wants to see her, and this is not the time, Vivian. Get him out of the shop. Rafe seeing this guy is the worst idea in the entire world.
For sure.
So he begs her for just one night, and Rafe is now in the shop, and she can see him through the kitchen door, and she promises to meet him at a plaza the next night, and he hands her a rolled-up piece of paper that he has on him, and Rafe notices him and steps into the kitchen. Apparently there's no, back door.
There's nothing, prevents this random stranger from wandering into the kitchen?
There's just, a door between the main shop and the kitchen, a swinging door, which is fine. But you think there'd be a back door or something, or she would have put she put no effort into getting this guy out of the shop, is what I'm saying.
Or, if anything, she kept him there longer.
So Rafe sees the handoff of the rolled up piece of paper to Vivian. And Vivian tries to play it off as trash as Aiden leaves. But Rafe steals it from the trash bin to look, and it's a drawing of a woman surrounded by wolves.
Of course. This dude's obsessed.
I know. Vivian begs Rafe to leave Aiden alone. He doesn't know anything. He's just writing a graphic novel, and I showed some interest given the topic. Obviously. And Rafe is like, it's fine, meat boys are fun. They just can't let them be themselves, essentially. Like, you're never going to be
Again,
yourself with
meat
him.
boy. So the term meat person for a person doesn't make any sense because wolves are made of meat, too.
I know, but it's so funny. She asks him if he's talking about the girl he killed, so I think at some point she hears about it, sees a newspaper, I don't know.
So what happens to the whole, like, hunt together, not at all thing? He's not going to punish him for that?
Well, we'll get into this. She has no power over this situation. She just knows about it, and it's her cousin. So I think, like, in the book, she's like, should I say something? Should I not say something? Like, she's pretty sure it was him. And she warns him that if Gabriel knows, he'd be in trouble. And Rafe basically tells her to shut up. Like, the pack's going to be mine someday, so I can do whatever I want, and you're not going to say anything about it.
Well, that's how that works.
Well, it does in the story. So later, at what appears to be the club again, but like the distillery part of it, there's like a whole factory vibe to it. There's like giant vats of something. Like,
it is Werewolf Willy Wonka.
Yeah, it's Werewolf Willy Wonka with alcohol, I think.
This is getting better by the moment.
So they're in, like, uniforms. I thought at first that they were, like, mechanics or something, because it was, like, the blue jumpsuit vibe thing, and then it turns out that they're working at this, like, distillery or something. And I'm confused. I'm very confused about what is going on with this job. And Gabriel comes up to Rafe and tells him that they need to talk. And Rafe is like, yeah, how's that new wife that you have that you left, my mom for? And Gabriel ignores him, asking if they've been hunting on their own, if he and his group have been hunting on their own. Because there have been rumors, I guess.
Sure, wolf rumors.
Wolf rumors. Wolf mores?
Nope.
Room wolves? I don't know. Doesn't work.
That's a portmanteau that does not work.
He shows them a newspaper with the dead girl's picture, and Rafe is like, did Vivian tell you about this? And Gabriel's like, it has nothing to do with her. I'm just asking you if you killed her or not. And Rafe tells him that he didn't touch a hair on her head. Okay, sure. Gabriel tells him that if man suspects that they still exist, they're going to be dead. And Rafe disagrees. He's like, we're the higher power, essentially, in this structure. Yeah. Human beings are really terrible at killing things and wiping them off the planet. Gabriel's like, accident. Gabriel's like, we're millions no more, and the day you go outside your pack is the day you're dead to it. And Rafe looks particularly upset and conflicted by this information, and they hug it out or something. Gabriel hugs him. Okay. So Vivian, meanwhile, is dressing for her date, and she heads out, and she comes around the corner of the plaza. She sees him playing soccer with some kids, because, he's a good guy. That's how you denote that in movies. So they play with kids. They have dogs where they play with kids. They go on a walk, and he asks how an American ended up in Bucharest. And she tells him that she was born in Romania into a group of expatriates, and they moved to a whole bunch of different expatriates, and they moved to America when she was little, but her parents died there, and she moved back to be with her aunt. So that's how they explain, I assume, every single accent in that movie. Sure, I'll go with it, whatever. That's not untrue, I guess. They are kind of expatriates. He asks her if she always acts like she's being watched, because as they're, walking through the city, she's kind of glancing around and not having his full attention, I guess. And she deflects the question, asking why he only puts his initials on his books. She noticed when she was reading his comics. He's like, ooh, you read my comics? So wait, she just wrote, A.G. Yeah. I mean, that's not how authors do their names. Well, we'll get into maybe why later, Sam. Or not. Okay. She asks him, he's like, I'm just saying, it's a bad way to build up brand recognition. It is, but he says if he told her, he'd have to kill her. Ha 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 ha. Funny joke every time. Okay, yep. She asks him more about his books, what he's learned, and he says the legends have got it all wrong. The loups-garoux aren't cursed, they're blessed, and the moon has no bearing on them changing. It's mind over matter, transcendence. They believe they can, so they do. Okay. You can kill them with silver or fire. You can't get bitten, it's hereditary, and if you harm a loups-garoux, they show a glimpse of who they are in their eyes, and he thinks it's all very cool. Nerd! Also, I can't believe you haven't asked this question. Where is he getting all this information from? Is there a loups-garoux library? Is it in the tomes of the church? I assumed he was reading a Dungeons & Dragons monster manual and just oh, this is all true probably. It just, it sounds like there's a lot of this legends written down for a group of people that supposedly don't exist, but do in real life. Why is it written down in Romania if the loups-garoux are French? Are they French? They said the word was French. I assume the word is French. It's spelled like French word. So that's my question. But they got driven out of France. Maybe all their stuff came with them. Maybe they started churches there. They go a little bit more into the history. I didn't write it all down, but not much more. Okay, that's all I'm saying is it seems like there's a lot of fragmentation here in the story. Yeah, but isn't it interesting? Don't you want to know more about this crazy, like, why there's so much history for the loups-garoux, why they have their own church, why they were revered? And at one point she talks about, I didn't write it into my notes, but at one point she talks about how, like, there was a prince that was part of the loups-garoux clan that, like, ruled Romania or something.
Maybe the movie's not very interesting, and that's why you're so interested in what's not in the movie.
I mean, it's all very interesting stuff. So he wanted to take her to a rooftop cafe, but it's closed. And she's like, don't worry about it. The best view in the city is not there anyway.
It's from my bedroom.
It's from my bedroom at the top of the chocolate shop. No. They scale a building. They make their way past some cameras to a rooftop that's full of wolf statues. And honestly, pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no, wolf statues. Awesome.
A whole roof. It's like Notre Dame, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame area, but like filled with wolf statues. So she won't tell him how she knows about this place, and he feels like she's hiding something. 'Cause she is.
Yeah. Get very perceptive there, Captain Obvious.
And he does tell her about the story about, like, the prince, blah, blah, blah. This is this is the house. It belongs to the richest person in the city or whatever. Like, she gives him a whole rundown of it, which I'm not going to get majorly into. She does tell him, while they're up there, they're bearing their souls, that her family has a lot of expectations for her. Who she is with, what her future will be like. And he's like, no, your future's your own. Like, the other people can't decide that for you. And he's like, let me share her story with you. So he tells her his history. He says,
oh boy, no.
He tells her that his dad was an ex-army ranger and an addict. And he wanted him to be able to defend himself at all costs. Like, that was his whole thing. And he just wanted to draw. He just wanted to be an artist. But his father didn't believe that was a career path for him. And so when Aiden tried to leave at 17, his father said that if he left, he would kill him. And they got into this huge fight. And that's why his name isn't on his books, because in the United States, there's an assault warrant out on him since he won the fight. And he knows his dad would carry through on his promise if he went home. So he travels and writes his books and hasn't been
doesn't make
home
any
since he was
sense.
17. I'm just telling you the story, Sam.
It's all nonsense. Oh, I defended myself as a child against a grown man, and therefore I'm the one who'd be pressed with assault charges. And also, my father would be able to kill me, even though they... none of that makes sense.
He's an ex-army ranger. Maybe he knew people in the police force, Sam. I don't know.
I'm just saying, it's a very dumb explanation.
Oh, that's why he can't go home. But you only get one chance at your life, and he wanted it to be his life, not his dad's. So that's what he's trying to tell her.
Good for him, I guess.
So they kiss, and he tells her that her family doesn't have to know if that's what she wants. He's willing to, be secret.
He's leaving in a few days anyway, right?
Supposedly, yeah. So cue a dating montage. I guess he's staying more than a few days. They're going all over. They're playing in fountains. It looks lovely. It's a classic European dating montage. And the five are following them one evening on a date. And he says he's decided to change his whole book concept. He's going to chronicle the rise and the fall of the loups-garoux instead.
That's even worse than what he was writing about before, probably.
You don't even know. She asks why they have to fall, and he's like, people can turn into animals who wouldn't be threatened by that. And then he pulls her out of the way of a passing car that doesn't believe in slowing down when there are people in the street. And
most cars, yes.
They make out in an alleyway until she is scratched, like on a piece of wood that's on the alleyway.
And then she reveals her true self in her eyes.
Yeah, she has a little flash of gold in her eyes, and she pulls away from it and kind of runs off a little bit. And he's trying to check the wound out on her arm. She refuses to let him or look at him. And they're interrupted by Rafe, who just appears.
Finds.
Yes, Rafe finds. No nose. Very scary. Telling him
to something about Harry Potter? No, that's a different magic book.
No, that was it. And Rafe is like, get out of here, Aiden. She's promised to someone else, the man who kept her safe after she got her parents killed. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, she didn't tell you that she was responsible for the slaughter of her parents? And Aiden's like, what?
Was it okay? And
Rafe tells him she's taken, that she owes a man and isn't meant for him. Then his friends peel up in a car, and Rafe gets into the car and then drives off. But I think he's only there so that there's, some information revealed, I guess, to drive them apart.
It sounds like it was just an exposition vehicle.
Yeah, literally. He asks her more what Rafe said. What was he talking about? Your family doesn't own you. You can do whatever you want. Are you going to let them make these decisions for you? And she tells him she won't let him be her fault as well. And she leaves.
Clearly she has some survivor's guilt.
Yeah. So cut to Rafe, who's telling Gabriel that Vivian and Aiden talk of wolf secrets. She's not protecting the pack. She talks to him of the loups-garoux. Is she above the law? Like, she should be punished like anybody else would be. And for some reason, Gabriel believes him and tells him to take care of Aiden, bribe him, threaten him, whatever. He's not allowed to spend another night in the city or he'll die.
So this clearly rebellious Rafe, he's like, I'll trust you, take your word on this.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
That is a choice. And he makes it and tells him to get rid of Aiden. I don't know if he's threatened by Aiden because, like, he wants Vivian and Vivian is in love with another man. So I think that's playing into it, but...
It doesn't hurt, probably.
Yeah, I don't know how much that plays into it, or if he's just like, okay, Rafe, well, you're in charge, because you're going to be in charge of the loups-garoux someday, so you can be the one that gets rid of this guy. Anyway, so Aiden shows up at the chocolate shop the next day, but she's not there because she's morosely in her bed, reading graphic novels and eating chocolate.
Like you do.
And Aiden gets home and he finds a letter on his desk. It's a note from Vivian telling him to meet at the chapel that night. A specific chapel in the woods.
Sure. Why not?
Are you still with me?
Yeah, I am. Do you want to hear me?
No, I can hear you. You just seem not enthusiastic.
I'm just like, I'm waiting for the plot to start.
Make sure. Aiden
I was
arrives.
like, let's get through all the backstory about the loups-garoux history. I'm not here for a Lord of the Rings. Let's digress about every tree and statue in Bucharest. When do we get to the actual plot of the movie?
Well, this is the slow part in the middle where they're developing their relationship.
Okay, so meet her at the thing. Let's go there.
And also part of the fun of this movie is all the weird stuff. All the weird background information that you have for a movie that's not that deep.
Yeah, that just seems like bloat.
Maybe, probably. Aiden arrives and the chapel design is made of bones, because why not? It's like a normal chapel on the outside, but you go inside and there's bones everywhere.
See, this is what I'm here for, Danielle. I didn't care about the whole the history of the loups-garoux in my graphic novel. Let's talk about the bone chapel. This is the kind of weird I'm for. Come on.
It's great. So there's just bones for days. There's bones on the walls, there's bones in piles, there's bones design. I think there's a chandelier of bones. So good. And surprise, Rafe is there. Vivian is not. Shocking.
Oh, the bone chapel. It's a perfectly normal place for a woman to meet me for a date.
Well, he doesn't know that until he walks in and he's like, what? And then Rafe is like, I'm
made.
here. And Rafe is giving him a little history lesson. He's like, it was built in the 13th century on soil brought from the Holy Land.
And we're back to the history lessons.
It's funny.
I'm so annoyed by this movie.
The cemetery overflowed with people who wanted to be buried, so they improvised. They just started burying them in piles, I guess. I don't put them in chandeliers. I don't know.
I'm so angry at this movie.
So Rafe tells Aiden that he's protecting Vivian from herself, and Aiden needs to be on the next train out. And Aiden's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And they get into a fight, and when Rafe is wounded, his eyes glow, and Aiden realizes that he's in trouble major. He's like, oh, no.
I guess I will take the train out. Peace.
Yeah. Rafe is like, stupid, I was here to warn you, to save you, but now he can't, I guess? He immediately is like, but now I will murder you.
Well, he knows too much, Danielle.
But a minute ago, he was willing to be like, go on the train, get out of here. Because he's like,
but now he knows he's a werewolf.
Yeah, but who cares? According to Rafe, unless Rafe knows everything, Rafe thought that he already knew that stuff was going on. Remember, his whole thing to Gabriel was like,
no, he was just lying to Gabriel to get her to break them up.
Yeah, he might have been. I don't know. It's very unclear. The movie's not clear on this point.
All right. That's the least nonsensical part of this movie to me so far.
Okay, well, great. And Aiden's like, no, man. I'll get on the train. I'll leave. And Rafe is like, I am the train.
Wait. Does it say I am the train?
That's what he says. That's actually my favorite line. I take it back. This is my favorite line of the whole movie.
That's the least intimidating thing I've ever heard. That's like him trying to be a Judge Dredd. I am the law. But I am the train. Okay, Thomas, what do you want? It's not scary.
It's because he's like, I'll take the train, I'll leave. And Rafe is like, I am the train, which I guess he assumes I'll make you leave.
Or I'll take you. I don't know.
I'll kill you to heaven. I don't know.
All aboard, choo choo, piggyback rides on Train Rafe.
It's so good.
So why do we spend 20 minutes talking about the loups-garoux history of the princes when we could have been talking about this? This is why I'm upset.
Because I really like that scene. It's very evocative, but I was going to add it in. You can cut it out of the podcast if you don't want others to listen to it.
No, I think everyone's got to hear that, Danielle. But seriously, This is the stuff I'm here for, not like the made-up history of werewolves.
I like the made-up history of werewolves. I like that it's so different from the book.
It is that.
So, as he says, I am the train, he then turns into a wolf, jumping on Aiden.
See, he should say, I am the wolf, or something like that.
No,
like,
but he says, I am the train.
If he turned to a train, that would be amazing. But he doesn't, so it's nonsense.
But it wouldn't make any sense to say I'm the wolf, because Aiden was just like, I'm gonna take the train. Rafe's like, I am the train.
And then turns into a train, but he didn't, and I hate it. He
So
should have said,
Aiden-
like, that train has sailed. That would be a good line.
So the wolf jumps on him. Aiden grabs a femur and starts beating him off. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
And he manages to crawl into the confessional box with his femur in tow, I guess.
There's a confessional in the Bone Cathedral?
Yeah, it's a cathedral.
Okay, sure.
Because it looks cool. But Aiden manages to bite a hole through the lattice that's like the door of the confessional, which is kind of funny because you can clearly see there's already a hole there, and the wolf's just like digging through the hole. So that was funny. And he's coming after him, he's snapping at him, and he finally gets through the hole, like half his body's in the hole. It really looks like there's a wolf like halfway into a confessional. I could not tell if this was CGI or a real wolf.
I hope it's a real wolf. Much funnier.
It's snapping at his chest, but luckily there's a silver necklace around Aiden's neck that gets caught in Rafe's mouth, and he backs off, like gagging and choking the wolf. And I don't know, there's a little bit of like smoke coming out of his mouth.
Okay, got it.
And Aiden suddenly realizes what happens. He's like, oh, it's silver. I think he says it out loud because, movie.
Yeah.
And he dives after him with the necklace in hand and, like, basically jumps on top of him, and they end up falling backwards over a balcony.
Oh, they're both dead.
The end. But no, Aiden wakes up, and Rafe is, like, laying flat next to him, and he's all veiny and smoking. Like, there's just
because the necklace is around him or something like that.
Around his neck. It's sitting on his, like, a collarbone. And he dies within seconds as Aiden watches, like, frozen in shock. Aiden doesn't even try to pull it off of him or anything.
Well, Rafe goes quickly, I guess. That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of dramatic. And Rafe's gone. And he grabs the necklace and he runs for it. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Rafe is actually a super interesting character. The actor who played him was, like, super interesting. He had dual-colored eyes, which I don't know is this thing that he actually had in real life or not, but, like, it worked for his character. And, like, don't you kind of want to know the story of Rafe? Like, what if he hadn't murdered that woman? What if he was being framed for that? Like, there's a whole story with Rafe that I want to know more about his character. That woman. You probably did. You don't see him actively kill her. You see him turn into a wolf, and then the next scene is just her dead on the ground. So yeah, it's implied that he killed her in, PG-13 or whatever.
I'm not really that interested in Rafe, I'll be honest. I didn't see the movie. Maybe he's more interesting in the film, but he seems not that different from his book character in that he's a hothead who likes murdering.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he is, but I think it would just be interesting to see.
So it'd be interesting if he was a better character, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think, that's what bugs me about this movie, Sam. It's like one of those movies where you're like, stuff could have been better.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. Oh, this movie, it could have been better if they only made it better. Jeez.
Well, no, sometimes you see a movie and you're like, this is just bad all overall. There's not a whole lot. Like, you'd have to do a whole overhaul to make this better. But sometimes you see stuff that has, like, super interesting concepts or characters or well-played actors or whatever, and you're like, well, I wish there was more to this because I really think this character or this thing or whatever is interesting. Yeah, it's annoying.
Aw.
Anyway, I think he could have been a more three-dimensional character, because if you understood his motivation, because he's like, when Gabriel hugs him, spoiler, I don't think this is a spoiler, I think this is implied in the whole movie and I didn't understand it till the end, but Gabriel's his father.
Oh, okay, got it.
And so Astrid is his mom, and she was like, whatever, 2 wives ago now, according, he's with his next wife. It's been 7 years since he was with Astrid.
He's with his next wife and he still comes back to Astrid every now and then for a little extra nookie?
Yeah, exactly that.
Well, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, anyway, and so they're like, this is his son. That's why he's inheriting the wolf pack, I would assume, because I guess it's hereditary in this version. So Rafe is supposed to take over the wolf pack. So he's like, this kid is supposed to take over a wolf pack. He's obviously conflicted with his dad when his dad's like, if you stray away from the pack, you won't be part of the pack. But he tries to do the right thing and tell Aiden that he's going to leave, and then he ends up killing Aiden. Like, is he hungry for human flesh? Like, what's going on with this character? I think he's a more interesting character than we give him credit for in this movie.
You think you could be a more interesting character than the movie does with him?
I'm more interested in him.
I think you put in way more thought on this character than the movie did.
Absolutely, 100%. Anyway, doesn't matter. Back in the club, Astrid approaches Gabriel, noting that his wife is home that night. Like, does he want to come home with her? Hey. And apparently they used to set the place on fire. And why does it have to be every 7 years, Gabriel? Real wolves mate for life. And his answer to her is, we all grow old, and you need to learn to do it with dignity, says the man who gets a new wife every 7 years.
I was going to say, like, that's a double standard.
It's wild. I do not understand him at all. So Vivian, who was like just briefly at the club, you see her at a scene, she has disappeared, and you see her walking down the street, and a bottle rolls out and catches her attention. Aiden is hiding in the shadows, and he tells her not to come any closer, as I don't know why, because he got her attention, and then he's like, don't come near me.
Okay.
Why'd you get her attention then, buddy? He wonders why she knows so much about wolves. Was it because her cousin was one? And he's all beat up, obviously. He just has huge
So his first instinct is, after fighting off a werewolf, is, let me go find that girl who's probably a werewolf too.
Yeah, instead of just leaving, which would have been a smart thing.
You know, maybe taking the body to the, like, authorities. Like, hey, I found a werewolf. Here's the proof. Or
just leaving. Like, you're a vagabond who travels from country to country.
You already were planning to leave anyway before you almost got murdered, so why just book it?
And wouldn't you assume that they're going to take care of the body? They're not just going to leave a werewolf body there to be found.
Well, they don't know he's dead yet. Like I'm saying, he could have been like on the National Enquirer or something.
It's true. So he asks her why she knows so much about wolves. Was it because her cousin was one? Was he a loups-garoux? And she asks him what her cousin is, and he's like, extinct.
No, he's not extinct. He's dead. Extinct doesn't just mean dead.
He holds up
No, he's a train. That's what he is a train.
The train.
He's a train.
He got hit by himself.
Stop hitting yourself.
So he holds up the silver necklace and asks her to grab it. And she's like, yeah, I can't do that, obviously. And she tells him he needs to leave. That's the only way to save himself. And he's like, I guess it was too much to ask for, just a human girl. And now they'll have me for murder. My prints are all over the church and the body. Which, again, I cannot imagine that when the wolves find it, they're not going to leave it there. And they probably have the police force bot.
Is the cousin, is Rafe in human form dead or wolf form dead?
He is in human form dead, but he's got and I don't know what he looks like after he dies, but as he was dying and you see him die, he's got black veins like all over him and the big wound from the silver on his neck. Like, he's a hot mess.
Sure.
But for some reason he turned back into a human when he died. But I just don't think that it would be an actual issue. Like, the werewolves would probably be chasing after him.
Why are her fingerprints, like, your fingerprints aren't on file in the Romanian police force, dude.
I know. And there's it's a church. There's probably fingerprints all over.
Yeah. You're fine. Just get the hell out of there.
That's so crazy. But he says if she had cared about him at all, she would have left him before they ever met.
3 days.
She just said would have left him before they ever met, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but again, like, if you cared about him at all, like, you don't know 3 days, like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, he's just saying that if you had actually liked me, you wouldn't have come near me.
Well, didn't she, really try? And he was the one who,
She did! He was so pushy. And then he's, coming at her again. I'm like, just leave, Aiden. If you have a problem,
this is all on you.
She tried to ignore you.
It seems like Vivian, what's her name, right? Vivian has no agency, and all the other men are just causing problems and blaming them for her. For their problems.
That's kind of the book as well.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. He runs off. She cries on the corner. It's very sad.
I'm so sad, yes.
So as Aiden approaches his room, he realizes that there are people waiting for him. So he heads into a restaurant and swipes a knife from one of the tables. A silver knife.
Why not just, get a train and leave? You don't need your bag, dude.
Well, he's not going to go get his bag. He's just, I don't know. We'll get there in a second. I think that's his plan. I think he's about to leave. For some reason, he felt compelled to go talk to Vivian.
Dumb.
Yeah. So back at the distillery thing, the 5, now 4, the non-fabulous 5, what was it called?
What are you mumbling about? You're incoherent tonight.
What were the 5 called?
Why would I know that?
I don't know. Well, they're 4 now. And they found Rafe somehow, and they went and got Gabriel, who's crying over the body of his son.
Okay, great.
Very sad.
Cool. Yep.
Vivian makes it back home. Gabriel arrives shortly after, telling Astrid that their son is dead. Astrid collapses, and Gabriel promises to avenge him. Ah!
Vengeance. Yay, that never goes wrong.
Definitely won't. Cut to Aiden at a train station. So we got there, Sam. We got there.
Finally.
So 2 officers approach him, ask him if he needs help, and he declines. And
why would they approach him?
Because they're loups-garoux.
Are the officers loups-garoux?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, do you need help? He's like, no, I'm good. And they're like, the correct answer is yes. Assumedly drag him away.
Wait, no, the correct answer is I am trained.
I am the train. Cutscene again to the Grecian ruins and everybody bowing to Gabriel. And he does a speech.
Oh, let me guess. Aiden's going to be hunted. Shocker.
He does a speech about man persecuting them for centuries and killing them. And once again, they took another life, his son. But no worries, his murderer is here.
Wait, but his son attacked him.
Yeah, Gabriel does not care.
Like, it's not like he's like, I am persecuting wolves. I'm going to go. You're like, I'm defending myself.
Yeah, I mean, Vivian points that out briefly. We're getting there to that point. But,
okay.
Vivian's like, gasps. She's like, oh my god, he's here. And she runs up. She's like, that's not fair. Rafe went to kill him. And Gabriel's like, you were sharing secrets with him. He had to be stopped. And Vivian's like, how would you even know that? You didn't hear that? You just took Rafe's word at it? Did Rafe act on his own? Or did Gabriel send his son to his death over her? And Gabriel, it's obviously hits close to home for Gabriel because, it's his fault that Rafe died.
Obviously.
And Gabriel tells her to stop, that if Aiden lives, he will bring hunters in the night and it'll be all her fault again.
Okay, sure. I don't think he will, but that's fine.
He gives Aiden the river in the woods speech again, and then makes Vivian remove his blindfold and give him one last goodbye kiss.
Why?
And I don't know, because that's like part of the... You see it earlier, like I assume...
Do they kiss the drug dealer goodbye too?
Yeah, I assume it's the wife, like the new wife. There's a woman that comes out. I assume it's Gabriel's mate, and she comes out and kisses him on the forehead or something, and is like, that's your send-off, essentially. Is like,
weird.
Good luck out there, buddy. I don't know, just part of the ceremony. Probably so that Aiden and her could kiss at the end. So they cut his forearm, and they let him run off into the woods.
Okay. I mean, yes, I knew that was coming.
Yes, good job, Sam. You guessed the end of the movie.
I mean, no, I guessed that they were going to do the same thing they did earlier.
You know how movies work?
No, I know how, they did this first time, and now they have the same situation again. Of course, they're let them run off into the woods again.
I mean, that's the best part. So Vivian's being held back by some big dudes, and she asks Gabriel how they're any different from the heartless killers he says that man is. And he tells her they only killed to survive?
Nope.
Which is not been the case thus far.
The drug dealer wasn't threatening them in any way. I mean, I'm not saying I'm pro-drug dealer necessarily, but I'm not saying that he was a threat to our very existence.
Yeah, it felt like they either when I saw that scene, I was like, okay, well, they only kill bad guys, that was my thought when I first
they're vigilantes
saw it.
or whatever.
Yeah, they're inherently they need to run and kill stuff, whatever, as werewolves, and so they do it to only bad guys. But then he's like, we killed to survive, and I was like, but did the drug dealer personally hurt them?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a scene they cut out? Did it kill some of the wolves? Did the wolves take the drugs, and now it's the drug dealer's fault for making them available?
Drugged up werewolves? Oh, there's a movie I want to see. Not this, sappy nonsense.
Cocaine Bear. As close as you're gonna get.
Yeah, but that's not as interesting as a werewolf with a drug problem.
Alright, anyway, he tells the men to take Vivian back to the car until he comes back, and then Gabriel and Astrid...
Wait in the car until your mother comes home.
Yes. Gabriel and Astrid run off, and she immediately sneaks out of the car and runs for the woods, because they don't lock the doors, because they're dumb.
Of course, because they're wolves. Wolves don't know how to use locks on doors. They can't figure out no thumbs.
The child safety locks were not a thing when you're a wolf. Aiden quickly realizes his blood is an issue, his bleeding arm, and he starts wiping it against all the trees, trying to misdirect the wolves. Vivian runs off after him, finally herself turning into a wolf, so she glows bright gold, and then she's a beautiful white wolf, and she's the only wolf that's all white. She's special.
Okay, she is so special. I'm just a specialist.
Just a special wolf. Aiden makes it to a stream and rinses his arm off, rubbing mud all over himself as the wolves are distracted by some of his blood, and he realizes that a creek would lead to a river, and he starts to follow it. The wolves hot on his trail.
Do you think they're actually going to honor the, if you reach the river, you're safe thing? Because I don't think they would.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out if he makes it to the river.
Sure.
So he pulls the knife he swiped earlier from his sock, where he was storing it.
They didn't, frisk him before they started this whole chase?
No, they took the silver necklace off of him, but that was it.
How'd they get off of it? I thought they couldn't touch the silver.
They just ripped the chain. I don't know, probably burned his hand.
Okay.
Great question, Sam. I don't know. Didn't the book say something about the silver only interacting with the... Maybe he had something on his hand.
But then how did murderify, like, Rafe then from the outside? It's like
wounds?
he swallowed it.
Wounds? I don't know. I don't know, Sam.
Now who's tired of this movie, Danielle?
I don't remember. Okay. So he grabs the knife and two wolves jump him and he stabs both of them as they rush him, continuing his way downstream. So now he's murdered like 3 people. He doesn't seem to care.
I mean, are they people? I don't mean to be like that they're not sentient beings, but they're clearly trying to murder him as wolves.
Oh, sure. If you're trying to murder you, all bets are off.
Yeah.
So Wolf falls behind him as Vivian runs slow motion through the woods, and he finally makes it to the river, jumping in, swimming across, and throwing himself on the other side, breathing heavily.
Don't stop running, dude.
I know. I don't know why he stops. I would keep going.
Yeah, because they're clearly not going to honor the river.
But surprise! The wolf doesn't care.
Yeah, no, duh.
This is Gabriel.
What about these wolves makes you think they're honor bound?
I do not know. The wolf runs straight for him, and he's like, I crossed the river! You said if I crossed the river! And the wolf charges him. He loses his knife in the rush, but the wife wolf attacks the other.
The wife wolf?
The white wolf. White wolf, white. It's hard, okay? Fighting him off, the other wolf falls into the river, and the white wolf comes towards him, towards Aiden, bowing her head.
That's the white wolf and the wife wolf.
And the white wolf. White wolf.
The white wife wolf.
So she's like approaching him. She's clearly like non-threatening. She's just like bowing her head. She's like, hey, I'm a wolf. And Aiden freaks out and grabs the knife off the ground, swiping at her leg. Okay,
maybe turn back out of a wolf form?
Well, she walks away and she starts to shiver, and then mists like develops around her and she, I don't know, forms into her naked human self.
Excellent. And now Aiden's like, I'm back on board. Let's do this. Choo-choo, time to ride the wolf train.
That's not what happens at all.
Should be.
Where did the clothes go? Great question, Sam. Don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously she lost them. She turned into a wolf.
Yeah, but you see them glow, but you don't see the clothes, like, fall off to the ground. Or they just have clothes all over the forest.
No, they get dissolved by the magic gold mist. Danielle, this is not important.
Every time they just, like, they just lose that outfit. They're like, dang it, I loved those pants.
That's why they don't change very much, Danielle.
Okay. So she's naked. Where'd the clothes go? Who knows? And Aiden realizes that he has stabbed his girlfriend with silver, and she's like...
Not really his girlfriend. Again, 3 or 4 days is not much of a relationship.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been. They had a montage. It could have been months.
I doubt that.
And she's all shivery and, like, dying, and she's like, don't kill me! And obviously he's not going to.
Wait. One little swipe with the knife on the leg is enough to kill them?
Yeah, because it's silver.
That's not... okay, sure.
It's poisoning her blood.
But it's not in her anymore. It'd be like saying if you, like, got stabbed with a lead knife, like a swipe with a lead knife, suddenly you die. Like, no, the less to be like stay inside your body.
Apparently silver's a big deal. Like, if it gets inside of your body, you're screwed. You're dead.
Okay, sure, fine. Okay, she's dead. So sad.
It's like a disease. It's spreading over her body. He picks
her leg.
Yeah, he picks her up and carries her to the road, and she's like, he wants to go to the hospital, and she's like, no, we have to go to this other place to get medication for silver poisoning. And they catch her.
You don't carry like a vial of silver cure stuff, like a EpiPen around. Just in case?
You would think so, but no.
Yeah, there's silver everywhere.
It's crazy fast. We're almost done, but the last little bit of it is crazy.
So good, finally.
They catch a ride. The rest of this hasn't been crazy, Sam.
I mean, I'll call it a roller coaster of crazy, where there were high points of crazy and low points of dullness.
Okay. They catch a ride from a truck that stops and is like, you don't see that scene, which is a disappointment, because I want to know what this guy is like.
Hey, how's that naked lady you're carrying with a wound? Well, there's a story here.
So the truck stops, and you hear wolves howling in the distance as they are mourning for their dead comrades who are dead they have not turned back into humans, which is confusing. And Gabriel, who is apparently the wolf that attacked him earlier, is alive, but in the water, trying to pull himself out.
Sure.
So meanwhile, the remainders of the 5 search for Vivian. They're very angry, and there's two of them left, I think. I think 2 of the ones that died were maybe the 5. So now there's 2.
Okay, I know how math works, yes.
I was thinking out loud. Vivian is taking Aiden and her to an abandoned film company.
So all the, silver emulsions that make up film, not going to hurt them.
No, it is apparently, deadly, basically, to breathe there. But she's like, it doesn't matter because there's already poison in my system. So what's more poison?
Okay,
which
good.
I'm
glad they got that part right then. Cool.
So anyway, so she's like, it's not a big, nobody's going to come here because it's poison. The air is poisonous, but I already have silver in my system.
Because if you already have one bit of poison, so if you have more poison, it's not going to cause any more problems.
Right. She's like, listen, there's an
Sure.
anti-serum for silver called antigen AG.
Sure. Okay. Well, fine. What? Wait. Aren't antigens for living things?
I don't know, Sam.
All right. Because silver is not. All right. I don't care. Fine. They don't have chelation therapy?
So anti-serum, antigen AG, they can get some after dark. She knows where to get it, but they have to wait.
Okay.
And for reasons
and
I don't know.
Breathing in the silver all night's not going to cause any problems.
Yeah, she's all weakened by it. He, to her surprise, decides to stay with her. She kind of takes a little sleepy nap because she's not doing too hot. And she wakes up, he's still there. And she explains that she's never killed anyone. She enjoys the run at the hunts, but not the hunt itself. But
that's better. I'll participate, but I won't actually do the killing.
Well, she's like, I can't stop the hunts, but I love to run in the hunts. And it was her tracks that the hunters had followed back to their house when she was a kid. She had gone out for a run. And so it was her fault that her family died, according to her.
So hunters saw wolf tracks and thought, let's go back and burn the home of those people.
I assume it's, yes, that at face value, that's what it sounds like. But I think what they're probably implying is what happened in the book where people realized that they were werewolves and followed the tracks back to the house.
Okay, sure.
It wasn't like they just thought well, wolf tracks go to the house. There must be werewolves inside.
That's what it sounds like. That's literally what you said.
I know, but that's what's how it's phrased in the movie, but I don't think that's what they're trying to imply. So they were taught to fear humans, and he tells her it's not her fault that they died. And then he cuts his arm and asks if she's feeling fear now or something else. And she's like, it's fear, but not of what I'll do to you, but what you'll think of me for,
Why is he cutting his arm?
Because he doesn't, in that moment, prior to that moment, he didn't believe that she wouldn't eat him, essentially.
If there was blood in the water, so to speak?
Yeah, how controlled are you by your beast, essentially, I think is what he's asking her.
Okay, sure.
And so she draws away from him, and she's like, I'm not, worried that I'm going to hurt you. I'm worried that you're going to think poorly of me, because I clearly am bestial right now. Her eyes are glowing, all of that. And he has a sudden moment of realization, I guess, that she's not the bad guy, and that she can control it, and tells her when he drew her as a loups-garoux, he wished that she was real, so what right does he have to wish her away now? And she's like, yeah, and then they make out.
Ew, she's dying.
She's dying. No, when they started making out, I was like, you don't have the energy for this, lady.
Or the time.
They have plenty of time. They're waiting for it to get dark.
Okay, I don't know what time it is in the world. It could be 10 o'clock for all I know.
It's twilight, maybe. It's not dark yet.
Okay.
Once it gets dark, they try to leave the grounds, but to their surprise, they're stopped by Astrid with a gun.
I don't need wolf teeth. I got a gun. Why did I never think of that before?
Don't know. She said she asked herself where Vivian would go, and obviously it's the one place she always told Vivian not to go is where Vivian would go. That
makes sense to
classic.
me.
And she trains the gun onto Aiden. She said, man killed my sister, and this man killed my son, and I'm gonna kill him, essentially. And Vivian is like, Gabriel killed Rafe. This guy was just defending himself, and he's gonna kill me too. Gabriel will kill me too for everything that I've done. It's the only justice that he knows. And Astrid, you can see Astrid wavering. She's like, no, I'll protect you. I'll make him see.
Yeah,
he won't hurt you. And Vivian's like, just like you made him see who he really belongs with. Your first love went wrong. Don't take mine away from me. Great lines.
Sure. Danielle, none of those lines matter. We've already had the best line in the movie. I am the train. Let's move on. Let's try to stop making more lines. It's not going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, I am the train's the best line. So that convinces Astrid, I guess. So she warns that Aiden can't love her if he fears her, which, I think is not an inaccurate thing to say.
I don't think that's necessarily true, but fine.
Well, you can love her, but can they be together long term? It's hard to, be with somebody who's scared of you, is what she's trying to say.
They can at least try, Danielle.
Yeah, I'm not against them trying. Vivian tells her to try and convince her that there's not more to life than this, that, she should go and figure out what she needs to do, because obviously this is not the life she should be living. And Astrid's like, yeah, you're right, and she gives Vivian the gun and lets them run off.
Oh, and Vivian shoots her. Perfect.
The end. So, Aiden and Vivian go to a pharmacy, and I guess Gabriel has some kind of, hold over the pharmacist. This is like the wolf
here's
pharmacist.
Your anti-silver serum. I just give it out to anyone who asks.
Well, no, they hold him up with a gun, to get the antigen. And the pharmacist's like, yeah, I can get that for you. And he pushes a foot button emergency call thing.
That goes straight to Gabriel?
Yes.
What? The bat phone for the pharmacist to Gabriel?
100%.
Great.
And he goes to get the antigen. It's secured in the safe, and inside, Aiden notices there's silver bullets and dust and all this stuff inside of the safe. He hands her over one of the, it's basically like an EpiPen situation. He hands it over to her and she stabs it into her neck and puts it in there and is almost immediately feeling better.
Great.
But as they leave, they're surrounded by the pack. And she pushes Aiden into an alley that has a lock gate for some reason, and she locks it behind him. She's like, run for it! And then she's taken by Gabriel.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Aiden manages to escape, but heads back and holds up the pharmacist. And
again?
Again. Yeah, with a new gun that he found.
Okay.
And he takes his antigen bullets and what I assume is silver dust.
So the antigen bullets or silver bullets?
The silver antigen, silver bullets, and what I assume is silver dust.
Okay, 3 things. Understood.
Yeah, multiple things. Puts them in a backpack. So, where did he get all these things? I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
So, Gabriel, meanwhile, tells Vivian that when she puts her trust in man, she condemns them all. And she's like, no, we condemn ourselves. They're part human, and you're denouncing, part of ourselves. Are they part humans,
or are they just something different?
The wolves are no, because the whole point is blood and chocolate, half human,
I
half
understand
beast,
that. My point is, Danielle, biologically, they're not turning humans into werewolves like the classic story is. They're not cursed humans. They are a separate species, clearly.
Yeah, something. I don't know,
so
Sam.
they're not human, is my point.
Apparently, in this story, they're part human. I don't know how it works, Sam.
That doesn't make any sense. They're not part human. They're just their own thing. They have their own breed. They can breed with each other. It's the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know how it works if they breed with humans. We never get into that.
Yeah, if they're not half human. If a werewolf brought a human, that'd make the baby, if they could have one, half human.
Okay, well,
maybe
her
they'd be
argument...
sterile, like a mule or something. I don't know.
Her argument is they're part human, and so by killing humans, they're denouncing part of themselves.
I'd be like, we're not human. Doesn't matter.
And he tells her that she doesn't understand that the prophecy says a girl from the bloodlines of leaders...
That.
I told you there's a prophecy.
No, there wasn't. This is how the book ended by prophecy. Who cares?
The prophecy says a girl from the bloodline of leaders would one day command them and lead them into a new age of hope and glory. And he thought that girl was her, and that's why he wanted to bone her, okay?
Yeah, prophecies are a bad reason to date.
I like that the prophecy's not about him. It's just that there is a girl that has a prophecy. She might be the girl with the prophecy. And he's like, I'm getting me some of that. I'm not going to be pushed out of this pack by some girl from a prophecy.
So he's like, if I can sleep with her, she won't displace me.
Apparently she can't be in charge. It seems to suggest that men linearly tend to
Wait, what? Linearly?
That hereditarily, men tend to get the thing, get to be in charge of this.
Men are lines. They can only move linearly, like a rook on a chessboard.
I just meant one after the other, in a straight line.
Sure. Like a lineage.
I don't know what the plan is. If somebody doesn't have a son, does the woman get to take over? At no point do they say women can't take over the pack like they do.
This is how the crown works in the British monarchy. There's a whole thing about it.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
I'm assuming it's something along those lines. But apparently she can be she's supposed to lead the pack, but he's like, well, I'm going to lead it too. Doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
So apparently now it's an action movie because Aiden is out for revenge. Climbing
this was almost over.
It is almost over. He's
you
climbing
said that 20
rooftops.
minutes ago.
Okay, well, it's a fast series of events, Sam. It's one after the other after the other. I've got
So
almost no
Rooftop
more notes.
Aiden.
I've got like 3 paragraphs of notes. I have got nothing left. Come on.
Okay, we'll see, because we'll see about that. So Action Aiden is on the prowl, fine.
Aiden.
With karate chop action.
It's like there's a joke in there about that. That was a good one. I was trying to get there. So, Action Aiden, out for revenge, climbing rooftops. He's somehow figured out where they are. Don't ask me how.
Snipped him out with his wolf senses, I guess.
And as Gabriel goes for Vivian, Aiden shoots him through the window of the rooftop and takes him down. And then he drops from the ceiling. And by drops, I mean he was shot at and he falls from the ceiling.
Those are different things, Danielle. Do all the wolves have guns too?
Yeah,
Like,
they all have guns.
Okay, sure, why not?
And they get into a gunfight in the bar. And the bad guys are really suck at shooting, because that's how it works, so it doesn't matter. There's like bottles of alcohol being destroyed all over the place, and Aiden blows silver dust in their faces and then sets the bar on fire with the spilled alcohol from all the misspent bullets.
Yep, time to murder some wolves. Understood.
Woohoo! So Gabriel digs the silver bullet out of his leg that Aiden hit him with.
But it's too late. He's already hit him once. He's going to die no matter what.
Apparently he's fine.
So a knife slash in a leg, dead. A bullet, not a problem.
Yeah, I'm assuming he used silver bullets because he had them and he was like putting them in his gun. So I'm assuming he shot him with silver bullet. Very weird. Maybe it wasn't in there long enough. I don't know.
The knife slash was there longer, Danielle?
Maybe pieces of the knife were in there? I don't know.
No, because the bullets fragment more than knives would.
Okay, I don't know. I can't tell you. Maybe he's stronger. So he rushes Aiden, but before he can kill him, a gun cocks, and Vivian is standing there with her golden eyes and the gun in front of her.
And she says, "Dodge this," just like Trinity.
I am the train.
She goes, "No, I am the train."
That'd be a hilarious callback to something she did not participate in.
It'd be funny if then, like, she said that, and Gideon was like, "Wait, what? How'd you know about that, blam?"
She's like, "I am the chosen one." And then Aiden's like, "I am the train," and he shoots him. The end.
There you go. I am the chosen one. I am the train. Goo goo goo. It's a new song by the Beatles, written by this movie.
I'd listen to that.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Okay, he asks her if she's going to shoot her own family, be that hunter on that snowy night. What a manipulative jerk face.
Wasn't he just about to murder her, though?
Yes.
So I'm like, yes, absolutely, I'm going to shoot you.
And if she's going to do that, then he'll give her his back, because that's all she deserves. Then he turns his back on her and becomes a wolf for some reason. I don't know why.
I guess wolves are harder to shoot.
I guess so. Aiden
They're smaller targets. I don't know.
Aiden tells her to shoot him. She's like, "Shoot him!" And she's like, "I can't!"
Shoot her!
Yeah.
Shoot her!
And Vivian's like, "I can't." And he's like, "Do it! Shoot him!"
Why can't she?
I can't do it.
Why can't she do it?
Man who helped raise her, who saved her. I don't know. She's feeling some family ties.
The man who helped raise her and also wants to like sexually assault her and also is trying to murder her. Like none of those things. Yeah, no.
And then Gabriel decides that his best idea that he come up with in his head is to rush Aiden, because that will definitely not get him a shot. And obviously, the gun goes off, and Vivian shoots him and takes the wolf down.
Yay!
I know. She cries over Gabriel's dying wolf body as he takes his last breath, and then they run out of
like each other that much. I don't think he deserved those tears.
I know. And then they run out of the bar, action movie style, as it blows up behind them.
From
all
what?
The alcohol. And
oh, sure. Not the C4 he left behind there, whatever.
All the cisterns of alcohol that are back there.
That's not how that works.
It's a distillery. It would probably just burn.
Yeah.
Aiden asks how they'll get out of the city if they're watching everywhere. I guess the remaining wolves. I don't know. And she promises him there's one place they won't be.
The church. The wolf church.
No, we never find out, because as they drive down the streets, people are all
graduate style.
No, people are all bowing to her, like they're doing the wolf bow with the
all the random people in the city.
Not all of them, but like a police officer here and a store clerk here, and like there's like clearly there's like a lot of loups-garoux in the city, and the point is like
insane.
She's like word is spread that she's their new leader, like she's taken out all the other leaders.
They all sense Gabriel dying, like, well, she must be the new one.
Yeah, so these are her, and then there's like a voiceover about how these are her people. She doesn't believe in prophecies, and he's like, "Want to go to Paris?" And that's like the end. They drive off into the sunset. That's the end of the movie.
And leave all her people leaderless?
I assume so.
What a nonsense movie.
The end.
Hated
Blood
it. Absolutely.
and chocolate, just like the book, Sam.
Honestly, I think the book, I can't believe I'm saying this, was better. It was more coherent, for sure.
Lordy.
Although, to be fair, the book didn't have the immortal line, I am the train, so... Tough call.
I can't believe this is our first, well, I can't actually, their first book-movie combo, but it is the first time I've ever watched a movie that was so far removed from the actual book itself.
Well, I consider doing, like, Eaters of the Dead, so the 13th Warrior book, but it's very similar to the movie, so I want to, like, give it some space.
Yeah, the only one I can think of that is so vastly different that I was, like, offended by it, I'm usually pretty easy to please with movies and books, was Ring of Endless Light, because the movie is, like, a wild misinterpretation of the book.
Oh.
And it's a good book, and I was very mad about it.
Well, that's too bad.
Anyway, there you go.
There I go. More blood and chocolate for some reason.
Because I thought it was funny how different it was. I just watched it to, like, I was like, I remember watching that movie and not overly liking it, but I'm curious how close it is to the book now that I've reread the book. Because I'd watched all that when I was a teenager, read it when I was a teenager. And I watched the movie and was like, holy cow. I'm doing this for the podcast.
Well, I appreciate that, Danielle. It's good to have that so close together, I suppose.
It's so you can compare and contrast easily.
Yeah, I'll have my essay to you by next week.
Excellent. And others, feel free to write in essays as well. We will definitely
more essays
read
the better.
them.
If you want to send an essay in on the contrasting themes of the blood and chocolate media pieces, you can do so at bookretorts.com.
You can also tweet, Instagram, or Facebook us at Book Retorts. I would also like to hear more from people who just believe that Rafe deserves more story.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying that's a different story.
It is a completely different story, but possibly more interesting story. The rise and fall of a young werewolf destined to take over the pack.
If they rewrote all the characters and make them more interesting, they'd definitely be more interesting.
Yeah, and question, if Gabriel were to die and Rafe was to take over the pack, and they are actually literally cousins, are they going to mate? What's the plan there?
He has to choose who he wants his mate to be, right?
Yeah, but if Vivian's the chosen one...
Well, she's chosen to lead, not to mate.
Well, I would be curious. Can you have, like, a leader, and he's supposedly inheriting the pack, and she's supposedly in charge of the pack?
Well, one of them's not going to... Danielle!
Questions abound.
You clearly are just way too invested in the stuff this movie didn't do.
You know, I had to think of something while I was watching it.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, if you want to support us building our own wolf church, or visiting the wolf churches of the world, you can support that endeavor at patreon.com/bookretorts.
Patreon!
Well, until next time, don't hook up with a wolf.
If you know they are one.
Yeah, check someone for wolves. Get them tested. Make sure you're tested before hooking up with anyone. It's a good thing to do.
And remember, be the train.
Be the train you want to see in the world. As Gandhi said, right? It was Gandhi. All right, well, until next time, bye.
Take care, everybody. Ready for clappings? The clappings?
The clapping? Yes.
The clappings!
Sounds like spring break. I like how we went different directions with that, Danielle. You immediately went to make as much noise as possible, and I made a pun.
That's exactly our MO, though. It's like classic Danielle and Sam.
Yup.
I'm gonna make weird noises, and you're like, I'm gonna make a pun.
It's amazing we can get anything done.
We don't. We just talked 38 minutes about nothing.